fucking ashamed of yourself. You're fucking scum. You're fucking pigs! Patriarchy. Fucking rape apologist, incest supporting, woman hating, fucking scum.
You woman hater!
Patriarchy, fuckface.
You and your son and your everybody and your friends are fucking men.
Fucking scum.
This is what men's rights look like. This is what men's rights look like. This is what men's rights look like.
Feminist theory is not the Bible. It is not the Declaration of Independence. It is not the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Damn right we target feminist ideology. Feminist ideology teaches nothing but hate and contempt for men and boys.
Feminism must be like a psychedelic drug. I swear to God, because nothing they say is remotely close to reality.
We're going to continue to call feminists out on their hate and bigotry, and we really don't give a damn if they like it or not.
Well, you know what, feminism, if you don't like the rule of law, then don't be part of society. Go somewhere else.
Blue Collar Red Pill, with your host, the One Dan Army, Dan Aarons, and Jack Nightrunner Barnes.
Good evening, folks, and welcome back to another edition of Blue Collar Red Pill Radio. You're here with Danny Boy and Jack and James, who's running the show behind the curtain there. The amazing wizard of technical stuff, James. Tonight's show, we're going to have a special guest on, and if you don't know who that is, it's a YouTuber by the name of Evan Delshaw. And I'm going to pop, if you haven't watched the video yet, I'm going to pop it into the room there, into the chat, so that you can get caught up to speed. Jack, how are you making out this week?
I'm doing fairly well, Danny. Running a little bit behind schedule tonight, so I'm going to be kind of in and out, but hopefully I'll be here for most of the show.
I see you didn't pay your patriarchy union dues again.
Yeah, that's it. You're exactly right.
Now, Evan's going to be joining us in a little bit. The reason being is that we've got a little bit of weather going on up here in Canada. Some snow. Things are a little bit nasty. It's not as bad as the Eastern Seaboard is, getting it down in New Hampshire. I'd like to give a shout out to Al there. Hope he's doing all right. I hear that they're about to get a shit ton of snow. Literally a shit ton.
There's supposed to be like 3 feet of snow all along the northeastern seaboard.
So that literally a shit ton of snow, not a feminist ton of snow, which amounts to half an inch.
Well, Danny, I want to know what your problem is. Why haven't you oppressed Mother Nature with your patriarchal powers?
Well, actually, Mother Nature was a little rapey with me. I told her no snow, and she wouldn't take no for an answer. I'm figuring Mother Nature must be a feminist. Matter of fact, she might be related to Lena Dunham and Eve Ensler.
Oh. Now, what about, we got to talk about this for just a minute. What about what's going on over on Wikipedia?
Yes, so for those of you who don't know, Wikipedia is getting fed up with the Femistasi, or Femstapo. There was another one, the Gal-Qaeda. The Gal-Qaeda.
There you go.
Yeah, the Gal-Qaeda, and I can't remember who coined that phrase, but hats off to you. That is an amazing phrase. Ranks right up there with Dean Esme's brown skirts. But apparently the folks over at Wikipedia are pretty much had their fill of feminist lies, horse shit, censorship, all for profit. Now, we all know that feminism is a lie for profit. That's all it is. It never was anything other than that. All it is a lie for profit. Now, usually when I toss that out there, the feminists go, "Oh, I'm not making any money." Well, feminists, the small hive mind of the feminist doesn't realize that profit can come in different forms. But that's a story for another time, or a topic for another time, because there's no story.
Well, the thing of it is, Danny, is she, your average coffee shop's feminist is not making any money off of feminism, But the people who are causing the problems, the people who hate men and who make policies against men and boys, who ignore male rape victims and female perpetrators, who ignore male domestic violence victims and female perpetrators, those people are making money off of feminism.
Oh, absolutely. Hand over fist, and they're lining their velvet hoo-haws with it. Their velvet penthouse hoo-haws in the sky with it.
Oh, a feminist posing in penthouse. Dude, you just gave me a bad mental image. Don't do that, please.
I'm talking here, fuckface. So yeah, we've had an interesting week over at Wikipedia. It's no longer Femipedia. They are kind of screwed. They're kind of screwing themselves. Well, pretty much. I'm fairly sure that most feminists screw themselves, anyways. And they claim that men aren't objectified. Meanwhile, as they're using a fucking objectified dildo to screw themselves with. But hey, men aren't objectified.
To me, the greatest thing about this Wikipedia deal was that they called it by name. They said, they called it feminism and the feminist moderators on Wikipedia. They didn't just say, these moderators were having a problem with them. They said, no, we're having a problem with the feminist moderators. And that, to me, that signifies a shift in the way the mainstream media is willing to report on feminism and what feminists do.
I believe moderator's a misnomer. It's a censorator.
Yeah, really.
Feminist censorator. And what they do is they censor facts and reality and truth and insert their feminist fantasy for profit. Yep.
Yeah, and the really neat thing about this is it all came about because of Gamergate. From what I understand, the feminists were moderating the Gamergate page on Wikipedia to be negative rather than neutral. And Gamergaters were trying to get it to at least be accurate, and of course the feminist moderators were shutting them all down. And finally, some of the big wheels at Wikipedia said, "Look, enough's enough. Feminist moderators, you're out."
Yeah, apparently. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not 100% sure. Like, I'm not all 100% up on Gamergate. To be honest with folks out there, I do play the odd, round of PlayStation 3. But I kind of go back a few years in games. I started off with Pong, then went on to the Atari system, the Commodore 64 kind of gig. I was actually a really avid gamer up until about PlayStation 2, and then I kind of fell out of it. I kind of ended up getting into other things and doing other things. So, yeah. But, I still enjoy the odd game. I'm just not on playing games all the time. Yeah, they're great fun. Actually, go ahead.
Me personally, I don't consider myself a gamer. I don't play video games at all, unless you consider being a connoisseur of online porn as a video game, maybe. But anyway.
Actually, as an interesting aside, I was on the bus today, and I was coming back home. I had some things running around to do and things to do downtown Hamilton there, and the bus was fairly full. Now, what happened was that I ended up sitting down beside a woman. And, of course, you know what? Me being the patriarchal shit-neck beard lord that I am, or something like that, I man-spreaded. Of course. No, actually, I didn't. I was respectful of her space. She was respectful of mine. But we ended up having a conversation. And the reason being was that she had purple hair with green earmuffs on. And I just kind of thought, geez, she's got to be a gamer or something like that. And I asked a question to her, and she said, yeah, she agrees. She loves playing World of Warcraft and stuff like that. And we had a really, really cool conversation. And when I said, actually, I kind of write about issues, gender issues and stuff like that. And my usual thing is that guys. My usual pitch is that guys face issues from cradle to grave. On the cradle end of things, we have male genital mutilation, aka circumcision, and on the grave end of things, we have, men dying on average 5 years earlier than women, and, the fact that we make up about 80% of the suicide population. And she goes, oh my God, I know, and blah, 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 blah. And then I kind of said, well, I'm actually a non-feminist. And she goes, oh, Jesus, those fucking cunts. I fucking hate them.
Yes.
Now, it gets better. Now, this woman, an incredibly intelligent young woman, she, kind of went on a little bit and told me a little bit about her history. Now, apparently, her parents raised her to be a logical, rational thinking individual. And then she let on that her parents were two gay men. And I said, that's, God bless them for actually raising an intelligent individual. Now, these two, incredibly intelligent parents actually had to fight huge amounts of shit from the Catholic Family Services and other shit like that, who deemed, two gay men not to be worthy of raising a child. And here they adopted her, and here was this incredible human. I'm not going to say, she wasn't just a woman, she was a human first, and then, she was obviously a woman. And we had a great conversation for about 15 or 20 minutes. So,
cool.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was a really nice experience. I'm thinking I might, do an article on that.
It's just for information, just for my curiosity. How old do you think she was?
I would. She would be college, university age, in around her 20s.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's great.
She actually gave me the contact information for her parents. Because I would I want to pay them the compliment about how they raised such a wonderful young adult. It was absolutely incredible, the conversation we had, and then and the conversation ended because I had let her know that people like the Rat Lady, aka Joy and Tora, aka Diana the Defender, aka Diana whatever, or the myriad of online personas that she has. I said that we get libeled and slandered by an incredible amount of people there just for saying that men have issues, and feminism is really just an ism. It's like racism only based on sex instead of the amount of melanin in a person's skin. So she said, well, you know what? She ended the conversation by saying, for every one person that hates us, there's probably two people out there that love us. So it was absolutely incredible.
Yep. Feminism is slipping, and we know it's slipping. We see it all the time.
Well, I think feminism's slipping because they keep on reading their lips, and I'm not talking about the fucking lips on their fucking head.
Yeah. They're sitting around in circles with mirrors trying to figure out what it's saying.
Well, if they're not sitting around with mirrors, trying to figure out what they're trying to read their lips, if they're marching down the street in giant vagina costumes. Oh, did we lose you, Jack? Jack, are you still there, brother?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
All right. Okay, so lately, guys, I'm
sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I had a little bit of technical difficulty there. I apologize.
It happens, Jack. It happens. We know, brother. You work hard at it. You're on the road. Most of us know that you are a long haul truck driver, and that your reception can be spotty because you're working for a living, unlike feminists who are lying for a living. Chink. Now, I'm just going to toss out there that I've been kind of mulling around. You know how I like to, throw around phrases and things like, you can lead a feminist to logic, but you can't make them think. So, my most recent one is that the racists are the KKK, and the feminists are the CCC, and that would be the cult of crazy C period. Or C period, U period, N period, T period. And what that stands for is can't understand normal thinking. feel free to spread that one around there, folks, because it's pretty much absolutely true.
Yeah. Yeah. You have these conversations with these feminists, and you're sitting there thinking, how can a person function with in just everyday life if their brain isn't working properly?
Well, they seem to have these in olden days they'd be called petroglyphs or hieroglyphs, but I think that they're hymenglyphs and pussyglyphs. And they're pretty much undecipherable. They're pretty much undecipherable unless you have serious mental damage going on.
Yeah. Yeah, my latest article on A Voice for Men deals a lot with the feminist reptilian brain, the mental damage.
Yes, it should be in the DSMV. Shrinks need to get on the ball there and classify, feminism as a serious mental issue, and it is curable. But it's kind of like somebody who's a serious addict can't hang around other addicts, so they got to be removed from the feminist hive mind before the possibility of curing that mental illness can happen.
May I hop in here for a second?
Absolutely, James. We always love your commentary there, brother.
What the feminists are going to do is they're going to take that, what you just said, and they're going to compare it to the Duluth model and go, look, these MRAs want to engage in isolating behavior, which is abusive.
You know what? You can't... James, what opportunity for Fat Boy Futrell? Oh, is that fat shaming? I'm sorry. I'm sure it's a glandular problem, like keeping food out of his mouth fucking gland.
Just saying. Just saying.
I agree. I get it. Or maybe it's not food that he's actually getting in his mouth. Maybe it's just because he's got his lips, he's got the Jessica Valenti's ass just spread wide open and he suckered up his lips right to that pucker.
Look, the fact of the matter is that most of these feminists are not going to have a desire to change. Most of them will resist any attempt to teach them anything until real life actually comes along and slaps them in the face. And then they will either do a complete 180 and head the other direction, or they will do everything in their power to try to reconcile what has happened in their life with their feminism and push the blame to everybody else. It's usually the latter.
Well, that hamster is on. I think they feed their mental hamster wheel steroids or something. I have no idea. Anyways, Jack, I didn't mean to butt in there. You go ahead, sir.
No, sorry. Feminists also have a strong need for victimhood. It's not just the normal hypergamous of women getting men to protect them and do things for them. It is just this overwhelming need. It's like a drug. They've got to have it. They've got to have this victimhood, and when they can't rationally get it, they'll make it up. If you look at all these feminists, it's like a form of narcissism. They've all got it.
Maybe we should change the name of feminism to victimism.
Yeah, that would serve the purpose or fit the definition, because that's what they are. They're just victim addicts.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I think that we should be. Every time we see one of them, we should call them victimists.
I like that.
You're not a human. You're a victimist. You're not intelligent. You're a victimist. You subscribe to the victimism. You subscribe to the victimism hive mind.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. But they're human because only a human could be that fucking stupid.
Come on, you should.
I rather like the phrase that Dr. Randomer coined, and that was venomist.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah. That's off his last video there. Hats off to Dr. Randomer there. He puts out some incredible stuff. I always enjoy watching his videos. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe or watch his videos, folks, hot foot on over there. And don't forget to rape his subscribe button.
Yeah. Yes, rape the subscribe button. And let him rape your mind with his logic. And of course, logic is a product of the patriarchy.
Oh, yeah, yep. It is. Yeah, logic rape. It is. So, what shall we go for a quick break and see if we can get Evan to join us now? Hello, James. And welcome back there, folks. And we did manage to get a hold of Evan. Not even the snowstorm could stop Evan from making the show. We'd like to welcome him to the show. Evan, why don't you say hi to the folks, please?
Yeah, hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure.
It's an incredible pleasure having you on there, Evan. I've been a fan of your work since I seen the Anita video pop on, and I'm telling you, I darn near, rolled out of my chair. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, it's definitely gone over a lot better than I thought it would. A lot of good feedback on the Anita video for sure. But yeah, it's been all good, man. I'm glad people are getting a kick out of it anyway.
Even the the mighty Anita Woozle Slayer Thunderfoot popped in a couple comments on there.
Yeah, he's been a force of driving some heavy traffic to the video. It seems a lot of his followers have got a thrill from it too. But yeah, he's been very supportive of pretty well all the content that I've put out there. So I'm glad that he's given me a thumbs up. I enjoy his work as well.
He's really good at pointing out Anita's horse crap. She's just a liar for profit, professional victim. That's it, as far as I'm concerned. But I'd like to ask you: would it be fair to say that you're a bit of a gamer? Is that what kind of led you to the Anita situation, or?
I would say not really. That's not really what led me to it. I mean, I'd say back in the day I was more of a gamer. I might say I'm more of a casual gamer these days. I play a bit of Call of Duty, some NHL with my little guy, but I mean, I wouldn't classify myself as a serious hardcore gamer. But, I think the definition seems to have expanded. So as long as you play, I think, Angry Birds on your phone, you're considered an elite gamer from the left wing. So, but yeah, myself, I wouldn't consider myself a hardcore gamer by any stretch.
I see. Now, what inspired you to do the first Anita video? Because I'm telling you, it's just absolutely, it was just so priceless.
Well, I'm going to say, it's been a long time coming. I've always kind of wanted to create a channel that kind of poked holes at feminism in general. I've always kind of had a hate-hate relationship with feminism where, they just nitpick over all these tiny, minuscule items, and then they overlook all of these huge issues that are facing men everywhere. So that was quite a while thinking I wanted to go ahead with the channel. And I was just kind of waiting for an idea to spark it, to give me my first kind of video that was going to put me on the map somewhere. So I knew that, I know Anita, she popped up in my Facebook feed so many times. Eventually I kind of started looking into her work, and I started watching her videos. I said, this is pretty crazy. I think she needs to be my first parody video. So I think I kind of played with it for a few days, and I think one day I just went to my pantry and I opened it up and I was getting breakfast, and I just thought, bam, tropes versus breakfast hero. And I think that's pretty well how it all came together.
Yeah, your second video, tropes versus, I really like the end. The end where you translated the French for us.
Oh, yeah. That was a crowd pleaser. But yeah, what I found pretty interesting with that video there was a lot of people had a hard time determining whether it was satire or not, and I found it pretty amusing that I had so many people that would respond, that they would knock and be like, I can't believe feminism would go this far with something or whatever. And it just seemed it was pretty humorous how many people couldn't really distinguish between real feminism and a satire video. So I got a pretty big chuckle out of that myself.
Jack, you got a question for Evan there? Oh, Jack. Uh-oh, we might have lost Jack.
They're talking to sleep.
No, so Jack, sometimes his reception's a little spotty, being on the road a little bit, so sometimes his reception's a little spotty. He didn't pay his patriarchy dues, he forgot to pay his patriarchy union dues, and, they're punishing him because everything is, result of the patriarchy. Right?
That's right. When in doubt, blame the patriarchy. That's my life motto. I go to the store, don't have enough money. Can I pay with patriarchy? Works every time.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got the patriarchy credit card, don't we? We got that going on, don't we?
Yeah, just pull down your pants here.
Yeah, and it's a platinum card.
That's right.
The platinum patriarchy card, and we never have to pay for anything, and we never have to go, into the glass cellar and do, work in the sewers and the dangerous jobs on the fishing boats or on the oil rigs or anything like that. No. We get it free and clear. It works out so well for us. It works out so well that we're dying on average 5 years earlier than women.
Yeah. Wonderful thing it is.
Some feminists would call that karma.
Yeah. But back to what kind of brought me into this whole trek, I think a lot of it was, a combination of these feminist Facebook posts I've seen over the last few years, and then it was just completely contradictory to anything I really experienced growing up and experienced life in general. And then I got dragged through the family court system, and I still have all these feminists telling me how privileged I am. And living in Ontario, I'm sure you know, my experiences wasn't the greatest, but I know it was a cakewalk compared to what other men out there experience. And seeing the legal system set up the way it is, that's something that really, really bothers me. And so I've been trying to incorporate that into some of my newer videos. So I kind of want to do half satire videos and half where we're actually drawing some detail into what I'm complaining about, essentially. But I hear things seem to be just getting worse in Ontario. I heard on the radio on the drive back today something about Kathleen Wynne wanting to put forth a teaching plan in grade 1 that talks about consent and making sure at grade 1 these kids know exactly what consent means. And if it's coming from Kathleen Wynne, I can pretty well guarantee it's the extreme far left-wing feminist version of consent. So I look forward. I'd like to be a fly on the wall to kind of just hear the conversation that takes place to come up with that new curriculum.
Oh, so basically, anything that is, heterosexual will be considered rape.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, guys, I'm back. A lot of these feminists now, they're doing this deal of, you're not supposed to hug someone without asking for consent first.
You're not supposed to hug someone? I can't even keep up with all this stuff, man. It's hard. Is that what's going out there now?
Yeah, if you'll go over to a website, everydayfeminism.com, you'll see some stuff like that about, you're supposed to ask consent before you hug someone. You're supposed to ask your children for consent before you hug them, and to teach them consent early and stuff like this. And it's just trying to remove humanity from children from day one. But yeah,
that's it's pretty sad what it's come to. But I could not envision being in a world where I had to go up to my child and say, can I comfort you? Can I console you because you're hurt or whatever? Where would it end? Is it an emotional trauma? You'd have to ask for consent if they fall down the stairs and cut up their leg. Do you have to say, hey, I can't pick you up until you agree to me picking you up and holding you? It just seems absolutely absurd. But nothing really surprises me anymore. So to hear you say that is, I can see that.
I kind of get the feeling that the sooner that they can get them indoctrinated into the state, the happier the far left feminists will be.
Yeah, well, I think it's worse up here in Canada from what I gather. I don't really. Maybe you know better than me what the difference is between the states. I know in Canada it's absolutely terrible. We talked, I think, earlier about the professional protesters, professional feminists, and they seem to be an awful lot louder up here. But what has your experience been with that?
Jack? Oh, we lost Jack. Oh no, we lost Jack. Okay. I'm in Canada with you. Whoops, I got. I can't answer that phone.
Oh,
Sorry.
God.
Yeah. So I've got. I get the same kind of experience that you do. There's a few things. Yeah, there's lots of things going on. One of the more interesting ones is that any woman can go and get legal aid in a divorce proceeding or support child support proceeding. Any woman can go and get free access to that. They'll be provided mountains of help, but a man can't. It's not a man can't go and get help for the same situation. It's almost, feminism just doesn't believe that men are victims at all, no matter what. A woman could frickin' drive a Mack truck over a guy and he would still be guilty of some form of DV or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty. I don't know. I don't even think they understand what it is. It's actually funny. My little girl, she was watching me. I was on the computer there. I was watching Christina Hoff Sommers' latest video, one of her Factual Feminist series. She's seen that the name Factual Feminist, and she said, "Why are you watching that video?" She's like, "I thought you didn't really, you weren't really into feminism. Like, why are you watching that?" And I said, so I had to try to explain to her a little bit about feminism, and it was one of the most difficult things that I could manage to do because, it's so different to every person that talks about it, and it's frustrating. It hurts the mind to think about, why there's not a consensus on anything, except the one consensus they claim to have is equality between men and women, which is really the furthest thing from what they do in practice. So, it's a head scratcher, man.
I actually I find that I can only speak for myself really, but I find myself agreeing with a substantial amount of what Christina Hoff Sommers has to say. Camille Beck is another good one. There are the odd ones out there that feminists don't consider them feminists, but they identify as feminists, and that's kind of a weird thing. I thought feminism was for everybody. Whoops, kind of hypocritical there. I guess they're a little slipping on the ball there. So you're in Canada, and there is the running joke that due to feminist governments, it's called Canuckistan. That's quite. I think it's quite fitting. What would that be? Would you agree with that?
Our governments are feminists. Is that what?
Well, the feminist governance. For instance, they're able to pass. They were able to pass the female genital mutilation law, while completely ignoring male genital mutilation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's been my experience. Even you look at the media coverage. I pointed that out with the Men's Center. I mean, you couldn't find an article that discusses this, the Toronto Men's Center as being anything but controversial. And I mean, it's the furthest thing from controversial. I mean, I went down there since doing that video and met everybody, or met a good portion of the group, and I know you're involved with them as well. And and I just don't get it. I don't see it. But I mean, that reflects, I think, maybe the views of Canada as well. But in all fairness, I think that applies to a lot of left-leaning principles, where they'll show, for instance, the protesters in environmental issues, but they won't show all the garbage that they left behind during their protest and made a mess of things, or any violent outbursts. And I think they did the same thing with the feminist protest at the Toronto University, or they'll show all of these angry feminists, and they'll make it appear as it's a justified protest, but they won't talk about any violence that they bring forth, or they won't show big red swearing. More than likely, I can't say that for sure, but I imagine that probably didn't make CBC's cut. But that's reflective of. It reflects on the government as well. I mean, they just donated $300,000 to white women, or white female-only domestic violence group. I think it's the White Ribbon Foundation. I can never. I'm confused now. But
White Feather Foundation.
Yeah, I'm going to stop ranting for a sec. I'll let you take over.
No, that was quite well phrased. The White Feather Foundation. Yes, I call them the White Fibbin because they're lying about domestic violence. They're lying about violence against women. I actually caught Clay Jones on the phone there, inflating numbers and just lying about things. And then when I asked him, what was really interesting is that I asked him, all right, you guys don't deal with domestic violence against men. Can you point me in the right direction? Now, Clay, and these guys are supposed to be, white fibbin or white feather. I'm kind of liking that white feather term. That might just take off there, Evan.
There you
go. What do you call it? So I asked Clay, where can I go? And, specifically talking about domestic violence, and what Clay does is he sends me to the male sexual abuse victims hotline. He gives me that hotline, and I knew it right off, the hop. And I said, "Well, isn't that there?" And he goes, "Oh, you certainly know your stuff." Obviously, I know it better than you, there, Clay. How you doing, buddy? I hope you catch this podcast. I'd also like to give a shout out to Jeff Pereira. Now, these folks over at White Feather there are supposed to be experts on consent. Now, Jeff Pereira came out to Hamilton Slut Walk there a couple of years ago, and I went and attended. And I made it be known that I would be audio recording at all times. And I said that I would like to talk to Jeff. And Jeff agreed to it. And then he turned around the day later and said, "I didn't agree to you recording." And it's like, well, if I say that I'll be recording at all times and I'd like to talk to you and you agree to it, I'm pretty sure that's consent. But, hey, I live in in reality, rational and logical world. Unlike Jeff, who is a professional feminist to make money.
Yeah, it sounds like our Anita Sarkeesian breeding grounds.
Yeah, and she's from Southern Ontario. She got her alma mater is from Southern Ontario too, as well. Apparently, she went to York University. I'm sure that York University doesn't want that to be known, but unfortunately, yes, she did go to York University. And apparently, I think she got her gender studies degree there. I don't say gender studies, I say gender. UH. It's up to a T. So you've been down to the center and cafe and you've seen the videos about Big Red and Darwin's Rejects, and they just can't let it go that that men have issues, and that they seem to want to say that men can't speak unless we say that they can, which is kind of nasty in my books. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's really sad that it's become a controversial item by anyone's view. I mean, I have friends that actually work at women's shelters locally here, and I've had multiple calls from them because they know that I'm in touch with some of these centers and ideas. I've had multiple calls from them with men that have had to leave their house and they have children and they need somewhere to go, and there's nothing for them. So I mean, we've referred them now down to the men's center a few times now. So hopefully, with the work they're doing there, when I was down there, unfortunately, they said they don't really have anywhere for them to go, but to just send them down there and they would see what they could do. But yeah, it's just sad that there's these situations obviously exist. We know they exist, and we know there are problems, but they just want to live with their head in the sand and make it out to women to be these professional victims. And I mean, that's what we keep teaching to our daughters now, and all of these viral videos that go around and around that just have this narrative where you're not going to succeed in life if you're a woman because men are always going to drag you down and you're always going to be the victim in any situation. So I think that plays into what we're experiencing now, where we're probably going to experience 5-10 years from now. And I don't see that narrative changing too quick. I think the only way that it's ever going to really go away is when they finally push everybody over the edge with this, and they just have a massive uprising against it. Which I'm hoping will happen sometime in the near future, because I can't stand this stuff. I really can't.
Well, I think that for every day that feminism's, kind of got the control of the narrative, we've got about 10 days of repair to do to society. It's just absolute insanity. In the Toronto area, Ashley Ingalls from the grad student union UT made the claim that there is such a thing as fart rape. If you can believe it, she actually tweeted it out there. It got picked up by some people, and that's the absolute lunacy, of their victimhood. That passing gas is actually rape.
It's that's one of the wilder ones. It's good. I like that. You see, I always would hope that there's so many ridiculous ideas like that come out of feminism, and these campaigns that I'm hopeful that will drive people away from it, or at least shine a light and make them look into it a little harder and say, like, why am I doing this? Why am I in this group of people and thinking this way and believing what other ideas come out of this ideology? But I really don't know. I don't know to what extent that happens. I don't know where that sort of indoctrination point, beyond the point of recovery, ends and begins. But I would have thought that more people would have. Well, maybe I'm off basis here. Maybe more people are turned off of it than I'm aware of. But I don't know. I just see all these crazy feminist videos. F-bombs for feminism comes to mind, with the little girl swearing and rhyming off all of these terrible statistics about feminism that are way off, and people are eating it up and just sharing it multiple times and loving it. And I mean, there was a small portion of people. It seemed like it was more right-wing conservative that had more of an issue with them swearing than the facts behind it. But I don't know.
You know what? Given your talents there, Evan, I might put forth a request that maybe you do a video called The Feminist Hotline. A man farted near me. It was rape. Can you please help me?
Yeah, that sounds like it's got some potential. I like it. It reminds me of a Rick Mercer would have a skit. There's one where there was one the NDP when there was one girl in Quebec. She got elected. She didn't think she was going to get elected because the polling was so far off, and she was actually in Vegas when she got elected. And I guess there's a lot of young NDPers, and Rick Mercer set up the NDP hotline, so they'd be calling in and asking how to change laundry and stuff. It was pretty amusing. But anyway.
I remember that. She was out either, I think, Montreal or Ottawa way or something like that. Just a little small township. Yeah.
But I think there's a few of them, few young people that didn't really think they were going to get elected. And it was a funny skit. I like Mercer's, he's sometimes a little off balance being on the CBC, but he's usually entertaining anyway.
Yeah, the CBC, the Communist Broadcasting System? Corporation, I should say. CBC, Communist Broadcasting Corporation. They're
definitely are not, they're definitely not a neutral broadcaster.
Absolutely not. No, they do put forth the left feminist narrative. They do report on some interesting things here and there, but it's kind of like fishing. You never know what's on the end of what's on the end of your line.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of curious to see how this whole Ghomeshi thing is going to unfold. That was quite the happening at a CBC, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm interested. But at the end of right now as it stands, he's charged, but he's still innocent until proven guilty. He will get his, he needs his day in court. And as far as I'm concerned, and and I believe I can speak on for the greater men's human rights movement out there, that if he is, in fact guilty and not feminist guilty, toss him in jail. If he is truly, someone who committed rape, then in jail. I don't care, man or woman. You rape, you force sex. That's it. Off to jail you go.
Yeah, no, I can agree anymore. That's another thing that's lacking. Well, I think everywhere, but in Canada, I've noticed too. There's the feminist court of public opinion, which just castrates anybody who gets accused of anything, which that happens in all across North America. But I remember reading one article in particular recently when there was it was a guy that walked in, and he walked into the bedroom and he's seen his girlfriend having sex with somebody. She, of course, yells, "I've been raped." And the guy, he laid a beating on him, and you see a picture of the guy, and he's just black and blue, and it was the whole story sounded like, this could really go either way, because she says she was raped, and he says it was consensual, but you look at the comments feed, and everybody's just like, oh, that's great, this guy got exactly what he deserved, this problem just solved itself, and it's really just like the public is just so ready to hang anybody who has had any mention of any wrongdoing when it comes to sexual violence, and it's sad, really.
Well, we live in a rape culture, apparently. Guys get beat up and they get killed, and just on the allegation of rape. But we live in a rape culture. Yeah,
I know. It's pretty crazy to think that this is just the cultural norm. Everybody just expects this to happen, and I mean it's ridiculous. I mean, if we were living in a rape culture, of course, everybody would just say, well, she's a girl, she deserves to be raped. That's the culture. You gotta go with it, which is never happened, but that's how she goes, I guess.
Meanwhile, for those of us who live in reality, we keep on seeing these adult female teachers statutorily raping their young male students, and then later on, after they have the child, they're extorting child support out of them.
Yeah, no, that's another huge crazy thing, and that's another thing you see when you see those stories come up, and you look at the comment section. They're like, the whole narrative is basically like, oh, that guy's so lucky, he got to nail his teacher. Why, where were these teachers when I was growing up? And it's just like they don't look at it the same way at all. I don't think that they realize that this probably wasn't a purely positive experience for a lot of these young men. I'm sure it was. It's such a complicated issue. I can't really pretend to understand it, but I can't imagine that that doesn't damage someone in the similar ways that it would a woman. But it's so crazy just the double standard when any of this sort of thing goes down.
If you ever get a chance to, and you haven't seen it yet, Evan, there's a great video out there called "Rape is Seriously Funny." And it's a man portraying, a young man who gets, abused by an older woman, raped by an older woman, and he keeps on, he plays on the satire that, it was a good thing, really, even though I didn't really want to do it, and I felt uncomfortable and really, bad about it. But it was really funny and great, and he keeps on going on like that, and it's an incredibly.
When it breaks down to it, is it a little clip?
Pardon?
Is this just a clip you're talking about, like a 2-minute movie or something like that? Or is
it's about a 3-minute YouTube video.
Yeah, actually, I have seen that. That was pretty interesting. I didn't really look into it that far. Was it? He was an actor, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
no, I did see that. It was it was pretty actually powerful video that he put together.
Absolutely. Whoever put together, put that, did that and created it, the producers and everything. Hats off to them. They deserve every bit of recognition for doing a wonderful job at pointing out the hypocrisy of the situation. We are kind of getting close to the end of the show here, Evan. Where do you see yourself going in the future?
Well, I got another video coming up tomorrow, so I'm going to start there, and I'm going to keep moving ahead with these videos, and I will be volunteering too with Cafe, and trying to just help out wherever I can. So I mean, I just want to try to keep on doing what I'm doing.
Well, I'd like to point out, Evan, that you are part of the majority. Approximately 77% of the population do not identify as feminists. They do agree with, being, equal treatment and, equality things there, but they do not identify as feminists. They are, the dam is slowly breaking down. The water is slowly, being free flowing of ideas and stuff like that. So you're part of the growing population that is saying we've had enough of your horse shit there, feminism, and you can hit the road, beat feet on the pavement, and get the hell out of town.
Amen, brother.
Okay. Do you have any final thoughts or anything you'd like to put in there, Evan?
No, I think we covered a lot of ground tonight, so it was good to be on, man. I'm glad I could join you tonight.
I'd like to say thank you ever so much for joining us tonight. Unfortunately, Jack kind of lost reception, and he can't make it back, so I'm going to say thank you on his behalf as well. How are we making out for time there, James?
Oh, let's see here. We got about 2 minutes if you want to push the envelope.
What do you
I'll
got?
make that 1 minute.
What do you got to say there, James?
Well, I've got nothing else to add. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Okay, I'm going to slip in a plug for KSUM. Sage has got his spring fundraiser going on. I'm also going to slip in the plug for Cafe's next lecture, which is happening, oddly enough and awesomely enough, on my birthday, February 5th. If you're in the Toronto area, make sure to come down there and see the talk, which is on human rights infractions against employment in Ontario. There's a lawyer actually going to give a talk about that, and there was a recent case that went through and was pointed out the discrimination against men in employment. And on that note, I'm going to say don't forget to take the red pill, folks, and remember, you can lead a feminist to logic, but you can't make them think.
Dan and Jack hope you have enjoyed this episode of Blue Collar Red Pill. The song The Last Ones by the band Jazar is used under Creative Commons license and has been modified for this show. Please visit antimisandry.com and avoiceformen.com for more information on the men's human rights movement.